Hello YouTube, Ultra Maximus here, and it's the beginning of 2012, so I thought this would be a great time to sit down and recap my top 10 geek moments of 2011. Let's see if some of them are your favorites too. Okay, so number 10, I've got The Green Lantern, DC's tentpole movie over the summer. And it was shot in 3D, which is pretty cool. I'm a big 3D fan. Obviously, you guys know that. Green Lantern is definitely one of my favorite superheroes. Big DC guy, so really like GL. A lot of people didn't like this film, and I think they were kind of hard on the film because this is not the Green Lantern most moviegoers, I think, right now are familiar with. This is not the Green Lantern that's been around. He's done a bunch of stuff. You know, he's got the gray in his hair. He's not the experienced, mature superhero. He's brash, he's young, he's cocky, and that's exactly how they portrayed him. If you look back in the Silver Age, that's exactly the way the Green Lantern was. Very idealistic, thought he was indestructible, and they really, I think, captured that. The problem is, I don't think it translated all that great to the audience. I thought the visual effects were awesome. I loved all the lanterns. Loved all the scenes in Oa. Ryan Reynolds really isn't my first choice for casting for Green Lantern. I eventually got used to it, I think, but he wasn't who I would have cast. I don't know. There could have been somebody better, I think, cast as Green Lantern than Ryan Reynolds. I think Reynolds would have made a better Flash than he did Green Lantern. There's some things I didn't care for the film, like I didn't care much for the suit itself. I liked how it was energetic and pulsing, but I didn't like the lines. It looked very thread-like to me. I was not a big fan of that. Loved Sinestro. Great character. Great stinger at the end of the film. And DC keeps talking about they're going to do a sequel, so we'll see. And hopefully it's a Sinestro-centric movie. So let's see where that goes with that. But number 10, like the film. Not the best one of the summer, but definitely a good film. Good Blu-ray 3D if you're into 3D. Really like the effects. Not a bad stab at Green Lantern. Could have been stronger. Let's see where the sequel goes. Okay, so number 9, I've got a comic book. It's a collection book, a graphic novel, whatever you want to call it. And it's not a new book. It's been around for a while, but I happened to be out in Los Angeles visiting a friend of mine. We stopped into a comic book store over in Culver City called Comic Inc. And I found a graphic novel called The Stuff of Legends. The Dark, Volume 1, I think is what it is. So it's a collection of the original series of comics. Great comic book, great read, love the artwork. If you're not familiar with it, essentially a teddy bear comes to life in this kid's imagination. He gets the kid that owns the teddy bear and all these toys gets essentially kidnapped by the boogeyman and pulled into the closet, into the shadows, and the teddy bear basically rallies up all the other toys, and they go into this world of imagination to save the kid that owns them. Wonderful book, great read. Totally surprised by it. I kind of flipped through it. I remember seeing it coming out initially, but I never picked it up, so I happened to go through and flip through the graphic novel, and I was just, you know what, I'm going to pick this up. So I started reading it on the flight back from Los Angeles, and I couldn't put the book down. So if you have not read that book, it is fantastic. There's, I think, a couple volumes already in graphic novel. If you haven't read it, pick it up. Good read, good story, and a different take on the kids' toys coming to life kind of deal. So The Stuff of Legends, number 9. Okay, so number 8, I've got the BBC series Sherlock. I picked it up on Blu-ray a while ago this past year and fell in love with it. Like I said, I talked about it last year, and great show. I've got a review on the Blu-ray disc. It's Season 1's 3 telemovies. Season 2 just premiered in England. We don't get it in the United States until I think March or April, somewhere around there. I'm very excited to see it. They've already ordered up a sequel. series for it, or sequel, another season for it. The actors, phenomenal. They're going to make appearances. In The Hobbit, Cumberbatch is going to be the dragon Smog, and then, of course, the actor that plays Holmes, or not Holmes, but Dr. Watson is going to be the young Bilbo. So look forward to that. Looks fantastic. Great series if you've not seen it. It's an updated version of Sherlock, modern times, and it really focuses on some of the eccentric things that Sherlock does, like he from the books, and really kind of plays off of that. And it's a lot of character developed between Sherlock and Watson and Mycroft, and just fantastic. If you've not seen it, definitely watch it on PBS.org. I believe you can get the streaming video for season 1. They also play it quite a bit. Just go out and find the DVD, find the Blu-ray. It's absolutely worth it. I cannot wait for the next season. I hope those of you out in the UK who have seen the second season, let me know if it's as good as the first one. I'm presuming it is. I've already heard good remarks and reviews from critics, so we'll definitely check that out when it comes out. But number 8, Sherlock, the BBC series, modern Sherlock Holmes. Great stuff. Okay, so number 7, I've got Smallville. And I kind of wanted to talk about the last season as a whole. There were some good episodes, some bad episodes. I really liked how Metropolis came much more prevalent, and we got to see a lot of the other DC characters get involved into the whole series. I think that made the show much better. It was a great progression, made it much more comic booky, and the fanboys, I think, really enjoyed that ride. However, definitely the last episode I really kind of geeked out on. The whole apocalypse coming around and Darkseid and that whole thing. I wasn't big on the first half of that final episode. It was a 2-hour event, and the first half was kind of tying up these love lines with Lois Lane and all that kind of stuff, and I could really, give or take that. It was the final bit of it where he really comes into play as Superman, and he's in the suit. We see him for a fraction of a second in the suit flying around, and the final scene where he's kind of doing one of these numbers, and very good stuff. I really like the show. Started off very simplistic. In Smallville, it's Clark learning he's an alien and dealing with these powers, and we get to watch him progress through the 10 years, and it was a great ride. It was a great show. Probably one of DC and Warner Brothers' best comic book live-action shows I think they've ever done for television. So hats off to them. Great job. I really loved the very final scene of Smallville, and I can't wait to get the entire series on Blu-ray. Okay, so number 6 is a figure. It's actually an old Transformer, Power Master Optimus Prime. I picked up the Encore edition Power Master Prime. I picked it up at the comic book store. I've done a review on it at a really good price. Always wanted that figure, never had it as a kid. Finally was able to get it and got it, put it together, and goodness, the trailer is huge on it if you've never seen this toy. Check out my review if you've never actually got to see the toy. Great figure. I really liked, I think, the middle version where Prime's got the kind of big double cannon guns, and the Power Master piece is kind of sitting in the chest there. I'm not that big into the whole chrome piece where the trailer's kind of his battle armor and wings kind of thing. It's okay. I really prefer the kind of the middle Optimus, not the small Optimus, and it's not the grand Optimus, but the middle one. I think that's probably the coolest one. But all around, a really good figure. If you got an original version of that, awesome, good job. If you're looking for one, check out the Encore. It's not that expensive. It is definitely worth the money, I think. It is a brick of a toy. It's an old G1 figure, but it's definitely cool. Brought me back to my childhood, and it definitely had to hit the top 10 list. Okay, so my number 5 top 10 geek moment is Jurassic Park, the game. When I found out this came out, I was all excited. I'm a huge Jurassic Park fan. I love Michael Crichton's work. I'm a huge dinosaur geek, as most boys are as they grow up. And I was really excited to see this game. I watched the trailer, I watched some of the making of, and how they really wanted to go back to the first Jurassic Park film and really make you feel like you were part of that movie again. And they did a good job with that. Unfortunately, they did not make it for the Nintendo Wii, so I had to get it for the Xbox, which is fine. It's kind of a choose-your-own-adventure game where you have to make decisions and do certain things and say certain things and interact with people. And the whole time, it kind of dances around the events of the first film, which is very interesting. We get to find out what happened to that little Barbasol can with all the embryos in it. So, great game. The graphics on the dinosaurs look really good. The people are kind of so-so. The voice actors did a very good job. I just kind of wish, especially for an Xbox game, I would expect more for the graphics. Something to the line, more on the lines of the Star Wars games with the Force Unleashed. Those graphics on Xbox are phenomenal. The Jurassic Park are kind of, I mean, to be honest, I didn't see much difference in those graphics than something off of the Wii, like the War for Cybertron version of the Wii. Now, the Xbox version for the Transformers War for Cybertron, fantastic graphics. I think they could have stepped it up a little bit in the Jurassic Park game, but it doesn't deter from playing. Very nice, gets you caught up into the game, gets you caught into the story, and it really makes it feel like you're playing a movie. And it was great timing for it to come out in the same summer or fall that the Blu-ray set for Jurassic Park came out. So definitely cool, took up a lot of my time, really enjoyed that game. Okay, so my number 4 spot in my top 10 list is Captain America, the First Avenger. Great film, probably one of my 2 favorite films of the year. I love how it's a period piece. Back in the 40s, during World War II, I think they did a great job. Good comedy. The actor that plays Cap is phenomenal. You can't even tell that he, at one point in time, played Johnny Storm. I mean, totally different. So changed. Great actor, completely different style. Kudos to him. Great job done. The film itself was great. Tommy Lee Jones was a great add to the film. Red Skull, done brilliantly. The whole thing kind of tied together well. I liked the evolution of the suit and the nods to the old TV show with the motorcycle and all that kind of good stuff. We get to see nods to the Invaders with the original Human Torch on display at the Stark Expo, which also ties back to the Iron Man films. Very good stuff. Highly fun. Looked fantastic in 3D. It's a great Blu-ray 3D added to the collection if you haven't gotten it yet. And just all around good stuff. Can't say anything better on it. Great summer movie. Great feel. They did Cap right. Hopefully they can do it well with the Avengers, which you get a nice little sneak peek at the end of the film. So check it out if you haven't. Great movie. You got to see that before you see the Avengers coming up this year. Definitely a good one. Okay, so my number 3 pick for top 10 geek moments of 2011 goes to another film, another comic book movie. My opinion, the best film I saw the entire year. It's X-Men First Class. Wasn't done in 3D, which is fine. It was outstandingly put together. It's a timepiece, which is very cool, in the 60s. They did a very good job at casting. Great cameos by Rebecca Romijn and Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. Funny stuff. Fassbender does a great job as Magneto. Wonderful. He is a badass in this film. I loved him hunting down the Nazis. Just the whole thing was really done well, and from start to finish, great stuff. Kevin Bacon as Sebastian Shaw was a phenomenal villain. He did a great job. It kept you interested from start to stop and really kind of see how these characters come together, and some nice nods to the X-Men community as a whole. And I look forward to more films. They really kind of twisted on, do they want to do an X-Men 4 or do a sequel to this? And I believe they're going to go ahead with the success of this film and do a sequel to First Class, which is fine with me. Loved it. Great film. If you haven't seen it, go out and get the Blu-ray. Very, very good stuff. So, best film of the year, definitely a good number 3 on this list. Okay, so my number 2 geek moment of 2011, which to some people may not be a surprise, is Peanuts Reef, my aquarium that I put together this year. I've been working on it for a while. It's a saltwater reef tank. I've got kind of a video vlog of updates and what I've added and things like that. It's been a lot of fun. I've always liked aquariums. I've been in the hobby for a long, long time. I got out of it for a few years, several years actually, but I've had saltwater tanks in the past, and I just really wanted a nice, good-sized one, and it's been fun, very relaxing, interesting, frustrating at times, but definitely good stuff. Thanks to everybody out there who's checked out my vlogs on Peanuts Reef and for your advice, everybody on the forums, the different pet stores I've talked to. It's been very fun, very good stuff. I'm thinking about starting up a reef club here on the south side of Indianapolis this summer, so take a look, keep an eye out for that if you're in the region, and if you're into aquariums, definitely good stuff. And that's definitely, without a doubt, my number 2 spot on this list, because it really took over my life. Pretty heavy for a few months, and definitely reaping the rewards out of it. So, good stuff. Peanuts Reef. Okay, so my number 1 top 10 geek moment of 2011, it's kind of a 3-way tie. It's basically kind of all put together as Blu-ray box set releases. So it was Jurassic Park, Star Wars, and the Lord of the Rings extended cut. So all 3 of those came out in 2011. Loved them all, couldn't really decide, so we're just going to go with box set Blu-ray releases. So talk about the 3 different ones. Jurassic Park. Huge fan, loved it. A lot of people were kind of critical about the transfer of DVD to Blu-ray, and I really didn't see what the deal was. I think it looks good. It's very crisp, very beautiful. Looks great. The first one is fantastic as always. The second one's kind of so-so. And the third one's essentially everything from the first 2 books that didn't make film. So being a Michael Crichton fan and seeing some of those things come out, and the third one, which is great, that probably looks the best, I think, of all of them, because it's a little newer shot. But the first one is fantastic, and I totally forgot that the workers in Jurassic Park were all wearing pink polos, and it kind of made me chuckle when I went back and watched it again. They're very vibrant and very pink. I'm like, oh, wow, very 90s. So, very cool disc set. If you didn't pick it up, definitely grab one. I think mine came with the little T-Rex busting through, so that was kind of nice, and a good little Best Buy exclusive. So, pick it up if you haven't, if you're a Jurassic Park fan. Very good stuff. One of the other sets, Lord of the Rings Extended Edition. I didn't get the theatrical Blu-rays. I waited for this one because I knew it was coming out, and I've had the extended edition on DVD for many years, and I really like that version of the film. It's chock full of content, like everything else Peter Jackson puts out on these DVD releases, which is good for fanboys. I think it looks great. People complained about the theatrical one. They said it wasn't as good. I really didn't see that. I didn't watch that one. Looking at this one, very beautiful, very well done. Fellowship of the Ring, which is my personal favorite, looks phenomenal. Very lush, very vibrant colors, and the Shire, and working with the elves and the Balrog and all that stuff. Everything looks fantastic. So if you're a fan of Lord of the Rings, this is a must-have, especially with The Hobbit coming out this summer. So that brings it down to the last Blu-ray box set, which is the Star Wars saga. We've got the original Star Wars set from the 70s and 80s, and of course the new ones from the 90s and the aughts. So, obviously very cool. I'm glad it came out, but I've got mixed emotions with it, which I'm sure a lot of people do. I call this the special edition, as George has once again made changes to the films. In The Phantom Menace, he replaced the puppet Yoda with a little digital Yoda to kind of make those 3 movies look more in sync. And I can see why he did it. I didn't see anything wrong with the original Phantom Menace version. The digital Yoda in Phantom Menace does look good. There's nothing wrong with it. They didn't change the voicing on it. Everything's the same, but it's still a change. The clones and Sith pretty much exactly the same. We get the special edition versions of the original Star Wars films because George said the originals just couldn't cut it to high def, which I think is a little crock. I think he just wants to sell the version that's out there. And unfortunately, the only way you're going to get those original cuts is to get that DVD set that has the theatrical and the special edition. So if you don't have that, go get them before they're gone forever, because they are starting to get hard to find. The other thing is that he changed the end of Jedi, where Vader chucks the Emperor down the shaft, and he adds the Franken Vader, no, right before Luke gets zapped. So there's that change. I wasn't a fan of that, but whatever. At least we've got it on Blu-ray. It almost sounds like I'm, buckling under, and just give us the good stuff. But we do have the original theatrical cuts, and if he doesn't think they're going to cut over, then, it's his film. Let him do what he wants. At least we've got the theatricals, and they look good. But it was really nice that this set came out. Lots of extra stuff on it. Probably the bonus stuff was my favorite part about it. Extra scenes for Jedi where Luke's putting together the lightsaber. He's sending the droids off to Jabba's palace. You get to see the Wampa going through, the Hoth base, all that kind of good stuff. So some very good extra deleted scenes that didn't get put in right before the relaunch of the movies in 3D here in a couple weeks. Very excited. Episode 1's coming out in 3D. I think they're going to look great. So let's hope that works out well for us. I'm sure it's going to be the special edition, and we'll probably get some kind of changes in these 3D versions as well. So I guess we'll just have to check it out. But that's my top 10 list. The things I geeked out on in 2011. What did you guys geek out on? Create a video, leave comments. Looking forward to hearing from you, and I hope you guys have a great 2012. Thanks for watching.